This is Kevin Dunn, the Get Fit Guy. Welcome back to regular listeners and welcome to any new listeners. Unless you have been living under a rock, then you may have noticed we live in an age defined by technological innovation and rapid digitalization. For most of us, it's impossible to imagine a life, in fact, without technology. Now, in our distant and not so distant past, exercise was not something humans had to do intentionally. It simply was that in the process of aiming to survive, we moved our bodies. Now, I've mentioned before, but in case you missed it, the biological definition of fitness is really just making sure that you stay alive long enough to procreate, and this ensures the continuation of the species. And I feel compelled to say here, because I know that sometimes people read into things or focus on things that I've said and take them totally out of context, that I do know that many people are either incapable of having children or just don't want children. This doesn't mean they're not fit by other definitions. I'm purely talking about how biology determines the fitness of a species, that being that it continues to exist across time. I'm sure everyone has heard the expression survival of the fittest. So, in the biological definition, exercise was an integral component of fitness because it enabled one to survive. If you didn't get up and go hunt and gather, then you and your tribe would not eat. If you didn't have the capacity to run, jump, brachiate, pull, push, and drag objects, then you would either fail at hunting for food or fail at avoiding being hunted as food. So, this idea of intentionality of exercise is actually a new one, because I don't need to spear any lambs down at Whole Foods or fight off people for fresh water at Kroger. Now, exercise for many, if not most, has actually become about technology. Generally speaking, people run on treadmills, not across the savannah. They pull up on pull-up bars, not branches or cliff faces. We lift using preloaded machines. We don't use rocks or tree trunks or animal carcasses. And we use devices to tell us if we've had enough rest or if we're working hard enough. So why would we imagine that it will stop there? Recent developments in fitness technology, such as those placing participants into virtual fitness environments, are becoming ever more popular. These include Beat Saber and Meta's Quest VR headset. Now, I have to be honest and say that I have not played any of these games myself. But I do have a friend that's bringing me his Meta headset soon for me to try. So when I do, I'll make sure I report back. Until then, I can't give you any subjective or anecdotal feedback, so we'll have to just make do with objectiveness brought to us by studies, which, believe it or not, some listeners hate. So anyway, there's an entire organization, believe it or not, dedicated to the study of this, and it's called the Virtual Reality Institute of Health and Exercise. It should be noted that this institute is not actually virtual, it's real, and merely studies fitness performed virtually. This kind of language game reminds me of the philosophy of technology and metaphysical ideas of the simulation hypothesis. In this, really, there are two types of potential simulated reality. One is an imperfect simulation. This is one where organic entities that exist in the real world are inserted into a digital or virtual world. And the second is a perfect simulation, where we have digital entities that exist within digital worlds. In the movie The Matrix, Neo and his friends were in an imperfect simulation in that they were actual organic entities existing in the real world who were plugged into a virtual or digital world. In this scenario, the Matrix scenario, it is possible for one to learn that one is in a simulation. In the second, where only digital entities exist within a digital world, there would no way for us to learn whether or not we were in a simulation, because any evidence we uncovered would be simulated evidence. Anyway, as usual, I digress. When we wear a VR headset, we enter an imperfect simulation. Now, the purpose of this Virtual Reality Institute of Health and Fitness is to understand what the fitness impacts of virtual reality experiences are on the human body. I think it's no secret that when we think of video games players, we tend to conjure up an image of an overweight, unhealthy, antisocial gamer hiding in a basement somewhere with only online friends. This is certainly not the case, but I'm still unsure if I myself would ever call a games player an esports athlete. Anyway, in 2014, the CDC identified video game playing as a risk factor for low physical activity. But virtual reality is a definite departure from this risk because moving around is inherent to the experience of the games. Beat Saber, a game where players cut blocks in half using virtual sabers to music, has sold 4 million copies, and it has also tracked 4,619,529,000 calories being burned in that time. The arbitrary equivalence of someone running around the world 1,405 times or burning off 18 million hamburgers. Not too bad for a video game. Other benefits to VR fitness are, first of all, it's really accessible. You don't need to travel anywhere to do it. You just plug it in and play. You can also very easily have fitness snacks because you don't have to commit to going for an hour or 90 minutes. You can turn it on for 10 minutes in your break and burn up to 60 calories. It's convenient. Apart from being able to have exercise snacks, you can do it on your own schedule. I often find that classes I want to go to, whether they be martial arts classes or spin classes or anything that I might want to try for fun, are only on at peak times when, frankly, I don't want to go to the gym because it's far too busy. Virtual reality fitness means that you can join in a class anytime, which accommodates busy lifestyles. Customization is super easy because virtual reality platforms offer a diverse range of workout options, catering to a wide spectrum of interests, preferences, and fitness levels. Whether you prefer high-intensity interval training, dance workouts, yoga, there's something for everyone. Additionally, many virtual fitness programs offer recommendations based upon feedback, user goals, fitness levels, allowing for more tailored workout experiences. Privacy and comfort is also a big issue because for some people, the thought of exercising in a public gym or group class can be intimidating or anxiety-inducing. Virtual environments provide private, judgment-free spaces where users can exercise at their own pace, free from the scrutiny of others. This sense of privacy and comfort encourages individuals who may feel self-conscious or insecure in traditional gym settings to engage in regular physical activity. Now, it's not all good things. The cons of virtual fitness are that it can lack personalization. Whilst many fitness platforms do have personalized feedback to some extent, they cannot ever replace the expertise of a certified coach. Additionally, virtual workouts may not adequately address individual needs, limitations, or medical conditions. Secondly, there is limited social interaction. Exercise for many is not only a physical activity, but a social experience. Traditional gyms and classes provide opportunities for social interaction, camaraderie, and accountability, which fosters a sense of community among the participants. Virtual fitness, whilst convenient, can lack the interpersonal connections and support systems that come with in-person fitness environments, which could lead to feelings of isolation or disengagement. Next is technology dependence and screen time. Now, engaging in virtual fitness does require access to digital devices. You may need to have headsets, smartphones, tablets, computers, as well as stable internet connections. Now, whilst technology enables virtual fitness experience, excessive screen time and dependence on electronic devices can have negative implications for your mental health, overall well-being, and your sleep quality. And finally, we've got motivation and accountability. Now, maintaining motivation and accountability can be a little more challenging in a virtual setting because there's no external cues, can be a lack of structure and there's no social support, no coach, no instructor, no workout buddy to provide encouragement and accountability. Users could struggle to stay consistent with exercise routines, leading to decreased adherence. That's, I guess, why you see, I've got an Apple Watch, and if I go exercise for 5 days in a row, it awards me with some, little badge thing. And to be honest, I don't care. So some people do. Anyway, virtual fitness represents a paradigm shift in how individuals engage with exercise and wellness. It can offer unprecedented convenience and access as well as variety, but it's not without limitations and drawbacks. Have any of you listeners tried virtual reality fitness? Let me know in emails that are less than 1,500 words, please. Thank you. Any questions, send me an email, getfitguy@quickanddirtytips.com. Get Fit Guy is a Quick and Dirty Tips podcast. Thanks to the team at Quick and Dirty Tips, Morgan Christensen, Holly Hutchins, Director of Podcasts, Brannon Getches, Davina Tomlin, and Cameron Lacey, who used to be an intern, but I don't think she is anymore. I'm your host, Kevin Dunn. If you have a question for me, leave me a voicemail at 510-353-3104 or send me an email again at getfitguy@quickanddirtytips.com. I should really pre-record this bit so I don't have to say it every week. For more information about the show, visit quickanddirtytips.com or check out the show notes in your podcast app.